It's a Sunday morning. The TV is on in the background. You're on the couch, half paying attention, phone in hand, doing absolutely nothing that matters. Then the light changes. Not a flicker, not a power surge. The room goes white. Completely, silently white. Like the world has been switched off and something else is loading in behind it. And then you're not on your couch anymore. You're on the ground, real ground, soil, root, wet leaf litter. And the first thing that hits you isn't a sound or a smell. It's the sky. It's the wrong color. Not wrong like a sunset, wrong like the whole sky has been dialed to a slightly different setting, a deeper haze, a heavier gold, like you're looking at the world through the thinnest film of amber. That's not your imagination. The late Cretaceous atmosphere carried more carbon dioxide than today's, and a thicker greenhouse blanket bends light differently. You're not just looking at an old sky. You're looking at a chemically different sky. Then you take your first full breath, and something else is wrong. Except this time, it's wrong in your favor. The air fills you up faster, fuller. Evidence from ancient plant fossils and trapped air bubbles suggests late Cretaceous oxygen levels ran noticeably richer than the roughly 21% we breathe now. You don't know that yet. All you know is that your lungs feel like they're getting more out of every breath than they're used to. You have about 10 seconds of wonder before your body sends you the real message. 3 clocks just started counting down, and you didn't press start on any of them. Water, food, shelter. And the cruelest part is this. The thing you're most afraid of right now is the one thing least likely to kill you. Day 1. Dark falls fast. You find a shallow rock overhang and inside it, a shape. Small, warm-looking, feathered. Your body wants to run. Don't. Here's what almost nobody pictures correctly. Most Cretaceous dinosaurs were not the towering monsters from the posters. The overwhelming majority were small, turkey-sized, cat-sized, some no bigger than a crow. And a growing body of fossil evidence shows many small theropods carried feathers, ran warm-blooded metabolisms, and lived lives that looked a lot more like a modern bird's or badger's than a movie monster's. The thing sharing your cave tonight is very possibly asleep, territorial rather than predatory, and far more interested in not being disturbed than in you. You survive the next 10 minutes not by fighting anything, but by doing what your ancestors did for hunting expeditions during entire ice ages. You go still. You control your scent, your noise, your silhouette. You let the animal decide you're not worth the energy. Outside, the night fills with sound. But none of it is familiar. No birdsong, because birdsong as we know it hasn't evolved yet. No crickets chirping the rhythm you grew up with. Instead, clicks, low rasping calls, insects the size of your hand. The whole soundscape of this planet runs on a different tuning than the one your brain was built to interpret. You don't sleep so much as wait for morning. Hunger sharpens. You walk deeper, looking for something, anything, that reads as food. And that's when the forest reveals its trick. There is no grass here, no flowers the way you picture them. Flowering plants exist, but they're still minor players in a world dominated by ferns, cycads, and towering conifers. Nothing here has a shape your brain automatically files under edible. Every berry, root, and frond is a blank slate. For you, every single calorie source in this forest has to be learned completely from scratch, with your life as the test. One wrong guess, the wrong sap, the wrong fern, the wrong innocent-looking seed, and there's no poison control line, no antidote, nothing but whatever your body can fight off alone. Hunger, it turns out, isn't a hunting problem here. It's an information problem. And you have none. Day 3. Something feels off about the rhythm of the day itself. The sun seems to move faster than it should. You keep losing the light before you expect to. You're not imagining it. Earth's rotation has been slowing down for billions of years. The moon's gravity is quietly stealing energy from our planet's spin, stretching every day out by fractions of a second per century. Run that slow drift backward 66 million years, and the days here are shorter than the ones you grew up with, by a meaningful chunk of an hour. It sounds small. It isn't. Less daylight means less time to find food, less time to scout shelter, and more hours every single day spent exposed in the dark when the world runs on rules you don't understand. Your body's internal clock, tuned over a lifetime to a 24-hour cycle, is now quietly, permanently out of sync with the sun above it. Day 4. You hear it before you see it? A rhythm in the ground, then the shift of undergrowth, then a shape moving through the trees 50 yards off. Big. Unmistakably, terrifyingly big. It never turns toward you. This is the moment the movies get wrong more than any other. Most large Cretaceous predators, based on skull structure, eye placement, and trackway evidence, weren't tearing through the landscape at full sprint, hunting anything that moved. Many likely relied on ambush over pursuit, and some may have had genuinely poor depth perception at close range, leaning instead on smell and ground vibration to track prey. You are not fast enough, strong enough, or armed enough to fight or outrun an animal like this, but you don't have to. You survive by reading it, not racing it. Wind direction, its focus, the specific way it's moving. It passes. It was never hunting you. It didn't even know you were there. Day 5. You finally eat. Not a heroic kill, but something small. An early mammal caught in a crude trap, no bigger than a squirrel. This is the real math of survival in this world or any other. The giants get all the attention, but they were never the accessible food source. Not for a Cretaceous predator, and not for you. The actual calories on this planet, the ones a stranded human could realistically obtain, come from the small stuff. Early mammals, amphibians, insects, the tiny background creatures nobody puts on a poster. It's the exact same rule every real hunter-gatherer society has always lived by. Small, reliable game beats rare, dangerous megafauna every time. It's not glamorous. It keeps you alive one more day. Day 6. The sky you noticed on day 1 finally shows you what it's actually capable of. The wind turns, the pressure drops, and the storm that follows is bigger and angrier than anything you've stood through before. A warmer, wetter, late Cretaceous climate, thick with extra atmospheric carbon, likely fueled a more volatile weather system overall. Heavier rain events, more intense storm cells, in some reconstructions. Standing in it with no shelter, no dry layer, and no fire, you learn the fastest lesson this planet has to teach. Exposure alone, with nothing to blunt it, can kill almost as fast as anything with teeth. Day 7. You finally stop reacting and start building. Not a shelter, a system. Bent branches for a frame. Broad fern leaves layered against the wind. A gap-free wall. Because you've already learned that every gap is where the cold gets in. This is the same lesson every early human learned in every real ice age this planet has ever had. Except you have none of their tools. No needle, no thread, no known trick for starting fire on command. Shelter was never a single decision. It's a stack. Wind blocking, insulation, sealing, all layered on top of each other, refined only through trial and failure. Tonight, for the first time, you're not just surviving the night. You built something that survives it for you. Day 8. It doesn't arrive like an attack. It arrives quietly. A low fever, a heaviness in your gut, a fatigue that wasn't there yesterday. Day 1 has caught up with you. Here's the part no predator can compete with for sheer efficiency. You have zero acquired immunity to anything in this biosphere. Every pathogen your body has ever learned to fight, the diseases your immune system carries a memory of, built across your entire life and inherited from millions of years of ancestors. Doesn't exist yet. But the reverse is also true. Nothing here has any resistance to you either. You are, biologically, a complete stranger to this world, and it to you. This is the killer nobody sees coming. because it never needed claws. Day 9. Something settles in tonight that's heavier than hunger, heavier than fear. There is no one else. Not in the next valley, not across the ocean, not anywhere on the entire surface of this planet. Every other survival story in human history, every shipwreck, every stranded explorer, every lost expedition, happened on a planet that still had other humans somewhere on it. This is the only scenario in all of history where that isn't true. Humans are still more than 63 million years from evolving at all. You didn't fear the right thing. The teeth were never the danger. The water was. The air was. The world itself was the predator. And it never once had to move. Day 10. 10 days in, step back from the log and ask the real question the whole trip has been building toward. What actually gets you? Rank the 4 real threats, and the answer holds together exactly the way it's been building all along. Fourth, least likely, the predator. Massive, terrifying, and almost entirely avoidable if you understand its behavior instead of running from its size. Third, malnutrition. Slow, grinding, solvable only through the hardest kind of trial and error learning, but survivable if you're patient and lucky. Second, dehydration. Fast and brutal, but at least it gives you a choice to make, a decision you control. First, the actual winner, pathogens. Silent, delayed, invisible, and completely outside your control from the moment you first drank. Not a monster, not a claw, a world with no memory of you, and you with no memory of it.